Hollywood has delivered some unforgettable classics. But sometimes, they go too far and ruin their own masterpieces. From legendary flops to sequels nobody asked for, these films didn't just disappoint. They tainted the legacy of the originals. The top 10 worst sequels that destroyed classics. Stick around as we count down the worst of the worst, and see if your favorites survive the sequel curse. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and join the Ultimate Movie Fan Club. Let's roll.
Well, who's not?
Number 10. Joker, Folie Deux. Joker, Folie Deux was seemingly destined for success, as the first Joker film from Todd Phillips was a surprise smash hit that became the highest-grossing R-rated film of all time and earned 11 Academy Award nominations, including a Best Actor win for Joaquin Phoenix's terrifying role as Arthur Fleck. Unfortunately, the second Joker film didn't have anything new to say about the character, as a majority of the story was centered around dull scenes in prison and a courtroom. The revelation that Fleck himself was not actually the Joker as he is known in the Batman lore was equally confusing, as Phillips' attempt to be subversive and shocking resulted in a complete mess that didn't seem to have a clear audience in mind. The waste of Lady Gaga was equally distressing. Number 9. Speed 2, Cruise Control. Speed 2 managed to screw up the trajectory of what could have been a great movie franchise, as the first film starring Keanu Reeves was generally considered to be one of the best action films of the 1990s. Reeves infamously turned down the opportunity to appear in the sequel, which should have keyed everyone in early on that trying to make a second Speed film was never going to be a good idea. While Sandra Bullock's career did manage to survive, Speed 2, Cruise Control did halt the trajectory of the series. In the over 2 decades that have passed since its release, there has still been no firm word on whether or not a third Speed film is in the works. Number 8. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam! Fury of the Gods was a notable step down from the first Shazam, which had been heralded as one of the better films to emerge from the cataclysmic DC Extended Universe. The first Shazam film worked because it lacked the gritty tone and pretentious writing of the DC films from Zack Snyder. Instead of focusing on cameos, it just tried to tell a good story. This classic sequel mistakes, as it tried to get much bigger with its story, despite not necessarily having a firm grasp on the character arcs. In addition to an unneeded cameo from Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Shazam! Fury of the Gods feared a pointless post-credits scene that seemed to tease a third installment in the series, which is now quite unlikely to ever come to fruition. Number 7. Caddyshack II. Caddyshack II was a sequel so disastrous that it seemingly ruined the brand of National Lampoon, which had previously been regarded as one of the most successful comedy innovators in the business. The first Caddyshack film certainly came together due to the boisterous chemistry between the cast, but sadly it was impossible for the sequel to capture the same charm. Caddyshack II ignored the heartfelt nature of the first film, as it delved into an entirely cynical escalation that felt like just another sports comedy. While Dan Aykroyd certainly deserves some credit for trying to fill the void left by Bill Murray, Caddyshack II was the type of disaster that seemed to soil the name of its predecessor because it was so disappointing. Number 6. Independence Day, Resurgence. This movie was a sequel 2 decades in the making, but managed to let down everyone that had loved Roland Emmerich's first film from 1996. While the original Independence Day was a fun, exciting disaster movie with a cheeky sense of humor, Independence Day: Resurgence was overtly dour, depressing, and in no ways triumphant. Independence Day: Resurgence sparked some serious doubts about Emmerich's track record as a director, as the good film in his career like the original Independence Day felt fewer and far between. It didn't help that Will Smith did not return to reprise his role as Captain Steve Miller, and that new cast members Micah Monroe, Liam Hemsworth, and Jesse T. Usher did not have the charisma needed to lead such an ambitious science fiction spectacle.